Business continues to do well during the pandemic, but here in Connecticut, the industry is dealing with the sudden loss of a leader. CT Pharma, the state's largest grower, was co-founded by Tom Schultz, who was killed while riding his bike this past Saturday. Chief Capitol reporter Susan Raff interviewed Tom a few weeks ago, and those who knew him say he was incredibly passionate about his mission.
This is what 800 marijuana plants look like. They're grown under high-intensity lights, which are on up to 18 hours a day. CT Pharma has been growing pot at this Portland facility for medicinal use, but they've run out of room.
So as the program continues to grow, we needed to increase our capacity.
CT Pharma has been moving all of its plants to a new and much larger home. CT Pharma had outgrown its space in Portland, and they knew they had to move. The question was where. This warehouse here in Rocky Hill will allow them to continue to grow and give them 10 times more space.
They've doubled the number of dispensary facilities last year, and the producers have all been growing and providing product to those 18 dispensaries.
Producers are trying to keep up with Connecticut's expanding medical marijuana program, which started 6 years ago, allowing patients with a handful of medical conditions to be treated. Now the number of conditions is closing in on 40. Chronic pain was the last one added.
I would describe Connecticut as a place that was an intellectual leader in manufacturing. It was more sophisticated than anybody else.
Tom Schultz, the CEO of CT Pharma, says Connecticut is seen as a model because it is science-driven. Marijuana is tested at independent labs for its purity, and a pharmacist is required at each of the dispensaries where marijuana products are sold. And there's a lot of research being done. CT Pharma is working with Yale University on clinical trials to manage pain, and they've partnered up with UConn to produce more medicine from the plants. Ultimately, they expect to have 10,000 marijuana plants. They bought the building and have invested over $15 million so far into their new home. Their workforce is growing as well, from about 50 employees to potentially 200 by the end of next year. And while Connecticut lawmakers debate whether or not to have recreational marijuana, medicinal pot is indeed booming. In Rocky Hill, Susan Raff, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.